Happy Independent Bookstore Day. I'm at my first stop, physical stop of the day at Joseph Beth Booksellers, and I'm gonna meet my friend Lauren, who's at Art of Reviews on Instagram, and get some shopping done. So let's go. Y'all, got my sticker right there for Independent Bookstore Day from Joseph Beth. Now we're on stop number 2 at the Friends of the Cincy Library, where they're having a sidewalk sale, but the sidewalk is going to be rained on soon, so we're going inside, so let's go. Well, did some damage. See a whole box of books I have here. I had to put one back because I gave myself I only had $28 in my wallet, and that was my threshold, and the books that I had gotten or initially had put on the table were $30, so I had to get rid of one. So I've spent $27, which I think is a win for I don't know how many books. I'll unhaul this for you all later, but that was my second physical shop. And then I also did a virtual Independent Bookstore Day shop with Melanie from the Cincy Book Bus, and I'll tell you more about what I bought from her, but I'm gonna go pick those up probably later this week because she's busy with orders and stuff happening today. So yeah, that comes to the end of the shopping. So haul time it is. Okay, we are back from shopping for Independent Bookstore Day. So I did 2 physical stops and 1 virtual stop. The first physical stop was at Joseph Beth, Cincinnati, and they are kind of a chain, but I think they only have like 2 or 3 locations in Ohio and 1 in Lexington, I want to say, Kentucky. And then went to the Friends of the Cincinnati Public Library, which is like a warehouse of the books that were discarded, or there's just too many within circulation at the library, or ones that have just been donated that the store wants to sell. And then the third was a virtual stop at the Cincy Book Bus. So Melanie at Cincy Book Bus, she is a mobile bookstore on wheels, and she had done kind of like leading up to Independent Bookstore Day, a virtual shopping experience, and then you check out on Independent Bookstore Day. So I had reached out to her based off like the books that she was advertising and ones on her bookshop.org account, and I got 2 things from her. So we're going to go through. This is probably going to be a long haul. This probably goes longer than any haul I've done before. I love independent bookstores. I have a whole playlist of independent bookstores that I have visited and done bookstore tours of. Can't hit them all today, but sometime if you want to check out those videos, feel free to do that and get an inside look at some of my favorite places. And especially if you're not able to travel right now or go to stores since they are closed due to the pandemic, it's a fun way to get the experience of shopping through at least the eyes of me as a bookworm in the store. So hope you enjoyed that. And I gave you a glimpse a little bit of Joseph Beth and the Cincy Library Friends today. So let's get started. We got Joseph Beth here. So this isn't too bad. 1 bag. Great. I went with my friend Lauren from Art of Reviews, and we ran into our friend Kim, who works at Joseph Beth, and she was kind of giving us the lowdown of the store and different sales and things that were happening. And the 3 of us know each other along with a lot of other bookstagrammers. We have a Cincinnati-specific Instagram bookstagrammers group that we message, and we talked about this day. This day has been in our minds for weeks, maybe even months. And we decided to meet up as we could throughout the day. And there are other folks that are going to be visiting the stores throughout today as well. But Lauren and I wanted to get a head start. They opened at 8. I got there at 9:05. So it wasn't too crowded. It did start to get a little bit more crowded as we were perusing. I think we were there for an hour and a half going through the different sections that we wanted. So we started in romance, then went to sci-fi, then to fiction, then to mystery, then to young adult, and then accessories. So we kind of hit the gamut and like went through all the different genres, and it was fun talking to her as well, since we both were similar with like we don't necessarily have a favorite genre, or if we do, it like changes constantly because there's so many good books that are out there. So yeah, we didn't want to be too limiting with that. All right, so let's go. What's the first book I picked up? I don't remember. Oh, so I had this on my list. It is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. So this, Lauren and I talked about this, about like series, and she is more inclined to buy maybe the first 2 or maybe 3 books in a series and then decide from there if she wants to continue buying more. And I am of the mind of I'll buy the first one, read it, and if I like it, then I will continue buying the rest of the series. So I read The Poppy War this summer, I think, not too long ago. Loved it, gave it 5 out of 5, and this is the second in the series, The Dragon Republic. Burning God was also there, which is the 3rd in the trilogy, but it was in hardback, and I want to be consistent, so I want to wait till that comes out on paperback, but that's okay because this is going to be a while before. I said I was going to read this in the summer this year because I have so many, as always, so many books I need to read before then, but yeah, I wanted to pick this up for sure. So that's the first purchase. This next one, it was just too pretty not to get. It is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And this, just look at how gorgeous this is. It is also very chunky. But let's just not think about how long this is going to take me. Let's see how many pages it is. You want to guess? Maybe 900. 804. And there's also like a glossary appendix of all the characters. That says a lot if you have to have a list of all the characters that are in the book. But this, oh my god, it just looks so pretty. But yeah, I couldn't resist. But these were the 2 fantasy sci-fi-ish novels that I got. And like I mentioned, I don't have a specific genre, but this year has been dominated a lot by either young adult or sci-fi, fantasy, or a combo of both. So this isn't too surprising that I picked this up, but this is going to be like an epic book that I probably, maybe I'll do a buddy read for this, or see if there's other groups that are doing like a book club or something, because I think this is one that I will definitely want to talk about. Then the last book, on the way over to Joseph Beth, I was listening to a new to me podcast called Currently Reading Podcast, where it's hosted by 4 women, but this time it only had 2 women on there, and they talk about like the books that they're currently reading. They have like a theme for the show or the episode, and then they have a books they want to press segment, and this episode was about books or books about bookstores, which I'm like totally appropriate for Independent Bookstore Day. Definitely listening to this. I love their style. Their voices are very calming in like a good way, not like you're gonna fall asleep, but like you're just engaged with it. Sorry, my phone's going off. Cool. And they were on the section of mystery and thrillers in terms of genres, and they went through all the different genres that you could find books about books. And mystery and thriller are ones that I haven't really at least purchased before. I listened to them on audiobook because I love that feeling of like the anticipation, the like I'm in the car by myself driving, maybe at night, maybe in the daytime, I'm kind of spooked, but I haven't like read a physical book like that in a while. I guess you can say The Historians by Elizabeth Kostova was one, but I don't know. This is like literal murders happening, and it's called 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. And how it ties into the books about books kind of theme that they were talking about on this podcast is that this killer is out there and they recreate murders that were in famous books. So there's some from Agatha Christie. I can't remember what the other ones are. Ira Levins, Patricia Highsmith. So I don't know, I find that super interesting. Clearly I'm not for violence, murder, killing, whatever, but I like when there's kind of like recreations or rethinking of, or what is it called? Reenactments, maybe? Now I'm thinking of like commercials where they reenact a situation where you're like miserable and then it's all gray and black, and then when this product comes in, it's like colorful and lively. But yeah, I kind of like that style in movies and books when they've taken inspiration and kind of like put their own kind of twists on it. So I think that's what this is going to be. So those were from Joseph Beth. So I'll talk about the 2 I got from Cincy Book Bus. So this was my virtual stop, like I mentioned, and she advertised these beautiful, beautiful notebooks, and I'm in line for, I don't know, I want a new notebook. What I'm going to use it for, not sure yet. Maybe for work, who knows. But there was a cover, I can't remember who the publisher or like who designed it, but it might be in like a penguin cover inspired or something, but it's a Pride and Prejudice like feather, like gold and blue, I think, cover of this hardbound notebook, and it's blank. I could decide between blank and lined on the inside. Lined I feel like is so restricting, even though like I like order and like organization and keeping things like straight. I wanted the blank one, so I don't know, people might have different thoughts about that. But yeah, I got that, and then she recommended to me, the first time I met her, I did an interview with her for my blog. I'll link that below, the interview when I just talked about like how she started it and like her inspiration and everything. But she said one of her favorite books was I Capture the Castle, and that's a book that she always has on her book bus or when she goes to different events, and she advertises a lot, so I got a copy of that as well. So those were from Cincy Book Bus. I also forgot, I got this really cute sticker. I already have one that's on me right now, but this I'll probably add to my book cart. So it's so cute. I love it so much. And yeah, that was given out at Joseph Beth. Now to this box. It was funny when we walked into Cincy Library Friends. I started like picking up books, and some of these are like thicker or are hardback and like kind of cumbersome, and the bag that I was carrying already had like my camera bag in it, my book that I was currently reading, my Always Fully Book planner. So it wasn't, I should have thought about this before, but I should have had like a tote bag, additional tote bag with me to carry my books around. But anyway, as I was walking around, I was offered a basket. We were offered it in Joseph Beth too, but we're like, no. But when we got to Cincy Friends, we're like, okay, fine, we'll take a basket. And then I walked out with the box. So that says something about the deals that I got. So Cincy Library Friends, like I said, are like discounted books. Most of them are like $3 a piece, but there's one in here that was a steal for sure, and I'm so surprised that it wasn't snatched up earlier. Now people probably hate me because I'm the one who snatched it up. That probably means I should probably read it sooner rather than later because it's like, oh, I bought this, I should probably get it. Or somebody else could have enjoyed it, but I couldn't help myself. Couldn't help my shelf. That was bad. But, well, we're just gonna go with it. All right, first we've got The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. And this I had started reading this for my Read Around the World Challenge last year, so 2020. And this was a book that was set in New Zealand. And I was intimidated by the sheer size of this book and like, oh my gosh, and like the font, so intimidating. But I like the cover, just looks super amazing. And I remember liking the synopsis of it, and it's also been adapted, or it's about to be adapted, I can't remember. But yeah, I think this is one that I could lose myself in. Maybe as it comes to the thicker books, like I had mentioned as I'm reading or I finished Middlemarch, and I'm going to be reading Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon, that I will take it like 100 pages per week kind of thing when it comes to chunkier books. So maybe that's just how it'll be moving forward as I get larger books like this, is just like dividing it up per 100 pages, and maybe like, obviously with math, if it's 600 pages, it's going to take me 6 weeks to finish. So maybe that's the approach I should take. There's 52 weeks, right, in a year. So I need to work that out so I can get a lot of huge books done in the year, along with like the smaller, like quicker books. Then we got The Tea Rose, which I was immediately drawn to because 1, tea, 2, it's set in England, obviously. And this is number 3, new to me book, and one I haven't really seen around. And that's what I'm trying to do a little bit more with the books that I pick up. So like with 8 Perfect Murders, hadn't heard of it before, didn't know who Peter Swanson was. And same with Jennifer Donnelly for The Tea Rose. So this is one of at least 2 books. I knew that there was a sequel there called The Winter Rose. But I, like I mentioned, I want to read the first, see if I like it, and then knowing that this was only $3, I can get the second one for $3 also if it's still there. If not, that's okay. Then I'll decide from there. But yeah, it's set in 1888, and this woman works in a tea factory, and then it's get brought into this drama and goes over to New York City, and there's some more tea drama over there as well. So yeah, I'm all about that. Then we have The Boston Girl by Anita Diamant. And this I was intrigued by because 1, I love Boston. It's one of my favorite cities ever. And then this reminded me a little bit of Brooklyn, but 2 different places, obviously, where there was a Irish immigrant. So this is kind of similar, but it's a family of Jewish immigrants in early 1900s. So I don't know, I just love that aspect of like what was that experience like to come to the US and find like a group of people like yourself, or like find that community there. So this I'm very intrigued by. And she's also like reading a book. So yeah, not the only reason. I just noticed that actually when I was looking at the cover while I was explaining it to you. But yeah, this looks pretty good. Then we have Public Library and Other Stories by Ali Smith. So this jumped out to me because I've seen this so many times, like not like in your face all the time in Bookstagram, but just like subtly as like a book about books, make sure you check this out kind of thing, but not like overly hyped. But this was also filmed, or there was a documentary, I think, set in Cincinnati based off this book, and they focused on the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, which is my library system. So I thought I would pick this up since, you know, like gotta support the libraries as well. But Ali Smith so the book I had to put back because I mentioned I only brought $28 and I went over to $30, so I took one out to make $27. I picked up another book by her called Autumn, and I was born in the fall. I love that season, favorite season of the year. And she has a series that are like seasonal books, and Autumn was there on the shelf. But I'm like, okay, same author, I will read this one by her, and then if I like her style, then maybe I'll pick up Autumn. But this one I picked up first and was intrigued by a little bit more than Autumn. Next, we have Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This was also talked about in the Currently Reading podcast episode On My Way to Joseph Beth, and I was debating between 8 Perfect Murders and Magpie Murders, right? Yeah, in Joseph Beth, but I decided to go with 8 Perfect Murders while I was there because it was something different. But then when I got to Cincy Library Friends, I had already looked it up on Libby for the audiobook app and was gonna like listen to it and like save it for my holds later, but I saw this and I'm like, this is only $3. I think this is a good deal. and wanted to pick this up. So along the lines of like a literary, I think it's like an author that writes about murder and crime and everything, gets brought in to help with a bunch of murders and uses expertise and everything. So yeah, this looks super interesting too. Okay. Are you ready for the steal/deal of the century, the decade, the day? $12. $12 for this. A Promised Land by Barack Obama. So I had started listening to the audiobook because I like wanted to hear his voice and him like narrate it, because he reads his own book for the audiobook. And I think it was in January I started it. And I was exhausted with all the political drama that was happening with the U.S. elections and the inauguration and the attack on the Capitol and all that stuff, that I'm like, I just can't listen to a political novel right now. And even though like I want to hear his story and like things that he experienced while he was the president, but I just couldn't do it. So I had to return the audiobook to Libby, and like I put on a huge waiting list for it, which was fine because I had other books I wanted to listen to. And it's like recently come up in my Libby app to start listening to again, but I was in the middle of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then I just started Deadly Education, and some other things were happening. But I saw this, and Bobby at Cincy Library Friends, he's like the social media person and like works in the warehouse. He had showed this on a bunch of stories for Instagram there, and I like went to the store, saw it, and I'm like, how is this not picked up? He said, yeah, like $12, originally $45. Nobody's picked it up yet. And I'm like, shoot, I'll pick it up. Like, come on. So I was so surprised. And I'm like, you know what? I have Michelle Obama's book. These are going to go together and live in harmony. So probably one of my proudest purchases of the day, or the best deal of the day for sure. So yes, let's see. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 physical books that I was able to get in print, or able to get in person today. And then a 10th book from Cincy Book Bus, and 11-ish would be the notebook. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I guess I can share the 3 books from Joseph Beth cost me $50-some total. $58. All right, cool. And then so it's 3 books for $58 total. And then the 6 books for $27 total. Friends, I think this is momentous for sure. But yeah, I think this was very successful. I love Independent Bookstore Day, like I mentioned. So happy to contribute and support these stores and stores across the United States, and hope that you were able to get out a little bit, or will be continuing to support indie bookstores as you can. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to comment down below. I'll link down some other resources and some reviews and everything I have down below as well. But yeah, thank you so much. If you want to subscribe to see more from me, feel free to do that. Hit the notification bell if you want to know exactly when I post videos. This week I'll probably have a lot of videos. I don't want to jinx myself, knock on wood. But I have this one. I have my reading vlog for the Transatlantic Book Club by Felicity Hayes McCoy, and then I have my vlogger Q&A for my 1-year vlogiversary video. So just cranking them out, because why not? But yeah, anyway, have a great day. Happy Independent Bookstore Day, and happy reading.